I'm a flat earther. I believe the Earth's flat. I don't believe that it's a globe. And I've just been like this for almost probably 10 years. And throughout those 10 years, the reactions that people give when they hear that has morphed. It's changed. Now, when you say that to someone, they don't have such a strange adverse reaction. They have accepted it more, even if they don't believe it, over these 10 years. So, either way, some of the people, actually nearly everyone, like some people are nice about it and to your face they'll entertain it, but when you're not around, they tell other people how crazy it is and how ridiculous it is or whatever, and they're calling you stupid and that guy must be an idiot and all these things, right? But I think it's become more and more obvious with time to even those people that say it's stupid. Flat earthers are dumb. We get it. We're dumb. But you're not understanding something. You're basing your worldview on things you've never even thought about, things you've never tested or never even looked at. It's just you were taught. We were all taught, okay? When we learned about the globe, that was just where we lived. And then when someone says, I don't know if that's really where we live, because everyone else says that's where we live, all of a sudden that person is crazy. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they're crazy if that's normal, if the other thing is normal. Let me talk about stellar parallax, because it doesn't really matter what it is, but it is important to understand that you're basing your worldview, your entire belief about the place where you live, the entire reality that you are in, you're basing it off of something that's a lie, that can't be true. And I'm going to talk about it because you've probably never thought about it very much. They say that the stars are light years away. And that's such a crazy thing to say, first of all. Okay, I'm sort of modeling this after a conversation that I've had more than once. But so the idea about space, or because I've said, I'm kind of going all over the place, guys. So just hang with me. Yeah, it will make sense. I've said before that there's two different kinds of outer space or whatever. There's two different kinds. There's the solar system, and then there's just up in the sky. There's two different things, okay? Anything that's in the solar system, science will tell you this. Now, I don't even believe that Earth is in a solar system. I believe that there's a solar system that we can watch in the sky, because we do watch that, but the Earth is not in it. The Earth is not part of it. That's part of Earth's sky, if that makes sense. That's two different ways to look at it, okay? The Earth is the main thing where we live. That's where we are. And it has lights that do things in the sky, and they do these patterns, and we actually use that to tell time and the sun and the stars. That's how we get a year, is because of the stars move on a cycle, and every day the sun goes on a circuit. That's what the Bible says, and that's what I believe. But that's okay. I'm kind of going all over. Okay, stellar parallax is kind of a big. It's a pivotal falsity, because it determines for a lot of you where you think you are and what you think the sky is. Okay, so there's the solar system that we see up there, and when I'm saying that, I'm saying it's the same thing. Like, it appears that there's orbits, and there's things orbiting the sun, and there's moons orbiting those things orbiting the sun. Okay, it makes Okay, that's up there though. And then people have throughout time, they've tied the two things they see just planets orbiting or moons orbiting planets or whatever. And they've taken that to mean that the Earth is one of those two because things fall to the ground. And that's a mistake to make, in my opinion. But it's a mistake I've made my whole life until I was like 38 or whatever. And then for 10 years, I've been seeing differently, way differently. Okay. The solar system, you can't go there unless you take a rocket. Like, now I'm going with the mainstream information here. You'll understand. Elon Musk is making this Starship because he wants to take it to Mars and he wants to actually go there. Okay. So this goes with the conversation I was having many times, where if you are looking at the sky and you're seeing a solar system and you're thinking you're part of that solar system, that you're thinking that Earth is going around the sun too, we don't see that. We actually see the sun going around above the Earth. But there's a lot of things like that where you have to believe completely the opposite of what you actually see. Kind of like the ground is still, not moving, but you have to believe that you're moving, you're actually rotating on this sphere. Well, that's just another example. But anything that's in the solar system, the one that's in the sky, the solar system we see. And you notice I'm pointing like over there because the sky moves in a very particular way. The stars move. There's something called the fixed stars. That's every star in the sky. But there's 7 planets in addition to those, all the stars. Okay, and the planets, they don't move the same as the fixed stars. The fixed stars all move together in one motion always, but the planets don't quite do the exact same thing. And according to modern science or pseudoscience, since the Earth is a globe, see, this is where it's very dangerous believing some of these things, and stellar parallax is really what I want to talk about. But it's a globe, and you have to go sideways over that globe fast enough. The space station, what it's doing is it's going sideways fast enough that it's just falling, right? Just like you'd fall to the ground, it's falling, but it's going this fast sideways so that it's just continually falling and it never reaches the ground, okay? The problem that I see with that is that the ground is like this. So there is no curvature to fall over and continually fall over. But again, people in the past, they've made sense of something, and they've said, well, we're in that solar system, and if we go outside of the globe and we go sideways fast enough, we'll just start falling around it, just like we see those moons doing around Jupiter. And so we'll be like, we could have a ship out there and it would be like that. And that's what they claim to have. Well, Elon Musk wants to go to Mars, and there's a lot of people backing him up on that. We can do it. We can do it. Like, actually live on Mars. Like, live on that little teeny planet. That little teeny light that I can barely even catch with my telescope. It's like so hard to film Mars. I'll try sometime soon here. It's hard to film Mars. I don't know. I've had better luck with all the other planets that I could see. Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. Those are like really good ones for filming, like what you can see, I guess. But Mars I have trouble with. But he thinks that so what I'm saying is his entire life, or a lot of these people that work at SpaceX and all this, they have this dream, this goal that they're going to bring humanity to another planet, to another place, to another world. Okay. Oh boy. So stellar parallax. Well, what is the sky? What is the sky? To me, it is there's the sky where the birds fly, and then there's the firmament of heaven. And in the firmament is all these stars and the sun and moon, and they're all moving around in the firmament. And by the way, MC Toon, shame on you. You are a dishonest, disgusting person. The way that you talk about the star trails on a flat earth is such a lie. I've talked to you about it before. You don't see the stars moving laterally. You need to stop saying that, and you are ridiculous. That's a side note. MC Toon, what you're doing now is directly against God and directly against God's word, and you call yourself a Christian. I'm not going to say you're not, but I'm going to say you're going in the wrong direction. That's what I'll say. Very much the wrong direction. And after the way that you talked to me the last time that I talked to you, it shows what kind of person you are, and I'll leave it there. Stop doing the lying, because people see that. Okay, so here's something that MC Toon would believe in. He would say that, oh, it's a fact, it's been proven, we can predict with it and all this stuff. Stellar parallax is a measurement, a way of measuring the stars and coming to the conclusion that those points of light are a particular distance away from the Earth because of the movement. Now, this is what I'm talking about, people basing their entire world view on something they don't even think about, something they've never even really considered. Because stellar parallax is a huge assumption that is made. That's a horrible assumption because it goes against observation, and I'll tell you why. Because we don't observe the Earth going around the sun. That's the problem. We observe the stars moving and the sun moving, guys. Wake up. Okay, stellar parallax is where, let's say today, we're going to go to an observatory, because you can't do it with a telescope like I have or any kind of amateur setup, or you couldn't even do anything like this. But you'd have to go to an observatory and use really nice observatories telescope or whatever, and you would basically take an image of a part of the sky, and then you wait 6 months and you go and you take another picture of that same part of the sky in 6 months. And you'll notice that just like if you know what parallax is like if you were, if you're driving in a car and there's a row of houses right next to you, or right off the road, and you're driving by and those houses are going by fast, but you can kind of look above those houses and there's like a mountain there, or kind of like a big hill, and there's a row of houses on that big hill too. And you can see that the houses are close to you are going by really fast, but the ones up on the hill, they're going by really slow. And so you can see that they're farther away because they're moving by slower. That concept is used with stellar parallax. So some of the stars, and we can only really do stellar parallax to really close stars, like they're a certain distance, because you have to be, basically, it's almost like you're not measuring anything, because you're measuring an angle that is such a small angle that it's not even, that's why you'd have to be at an observatory. Now, so the concept is this. Why is it 6 months? Because if the Earth is orbiting the sun, and you're here, we took our first picture, and we waited 6 months, and we took our second picture. So from here to the sun to our first picture, 93 million plus 93 million is 186 million miles. This is how we get a triangle, and we can do some math or geometry or whatever you want to call it. So we have 186 million miles, and then we have an angle. So you can get the distance. Let me point out the biggest blunder in science or astronomy. This is so ridiculous, okay? Let's say the observatories in California, I don't know where, doesn't matter, on top of some mountain, okay? We went to California in my car or your car, and we parked in the parking lot, and we walked into the observatory and we did our thing with them or whatever, okay? 6 months later, your crazy mind that calls me crazy pulls into the same parking lot. Actually, we were in the same parking spot. Pulled the car into the exact same parking spot, walked into the exact same observatory, and mentioned to the guy at the observatory, well, now we're 186 million miles from where we were when we took our first picture. Is there some kind of assumption being made there? Isn't it a requirement to do any kind of measurement like that, that the Earth is actually going around the sun and that we're actually in a different place? We're not in a different place. You yourself went to the same observatory. Why would you do that? Your 6 months doesn't do anything. Okay, so if you're basing your worldview on the idea that, in my conversation the other day, this is what bothered me. If you're basing your worldview on like a solar system and like the universe idea where there's galaxies and things, you're the stellar parallax guy. You believe that. You believe that going to the same parking spot, that you're 186 million miles away, and you think that there's some reason that you can determine that, even though you drove to the same place, looked through the same optics. Okay, like if I could compare that to something, which I don't think I really can, but it's a ridiculous assumption. First of all, every morning, let me remind you, the reason why that doesn't make any sense to think that the Earth is going around the sun is just because we see planets going around the sun doesn't mean that the Earth has to. Like, the sun, it rises in the east and it sets in the west. For you, me, anyone who gets to see it. That's what the sun does. That's all it does. And it's light somewhere in the world all the time. It's daytime somewhere in the world all the time. So the sun is always shining on the world. Here's another assumption. If the sun is always shining on part of the world, is the sun going like this, like we see, east to west? Or is the world somehow turning and the sun's just sitting there? Because this world I'm in is not turning. If you think that the world you're in is turning, go outside and double check. Because you are making an assumption that you shouldn't make. Do you get it? Do you see all these false things that you have to believe in? You might not even think about them, but they're false. They're false. Like the Earth rotating, that's false. The Earth is not rotating. The sky is rotating. I can prove it. I have the best evidence because we can look at the sky and see it rotating. That's really good evidence of that the sky is rotating. The sun goes on a circuit, and in my little part of the world, I see it go like this. Just like when I see an airplane fly from, or jet, like at cruising altitude, flying from horizon to horizon, what do I see it doing? I see it going up and over me and down. That's what we see the sun do. It's the same thing. We know that the sun is always above the Earth. It's not touching the ground. We know that the airplane's flying at cruising altitude. It's always above the ground. It's not flying in a bow or a dome. That's how we see it, though. That's how we see everything. It's like a circle around us. If you turn around, how far do you see? Turn around, how far do you see? How do you make a circle? You take a point and you go equal amounts of distance from that point, and you get a circle. That's our perception. That's the world. That's how we perceive the world. And it really does look like, when you see a jet way over there, it does look like it's flying, like it's a rocket launching. But then you see it coming towards you, and then when you see it go over you, it looks like it's just flying. And then you watch it, and as it starts going like it's crashing. That's what a rocket launch does. And a lot of people are like, see, it just goes back into the ocean. Well, make up your mind. Is the sun like, yeah, I don't know if many people caught that, but a rocket launch, it like a time lapse of a rocket launch, and you see the path, and it goes like that. Of course. Some people will say, oh, no, that's it going around the curvature of the Earth. Okay. And some people will say, it's crashing in the ocean. Rockets don't go anywhere. And then I just say, no, that's just the path that anything takes that's flying sideways or just, what do you call that? Parallel with the surface. Anything that's going parallel with the surface of the Earth for something on the ground, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. So the sun, the moon, they're just going in a circle. That's what we see, I'm saying. We see it rising in the east, setting to the west. And then if you were call your buddy that's it as however far over you think west is, call him and say, hey, where's the sun? He'll be like, oh, it's just rising. But it's still up in the sky the whole time. It's just doing a circle. That's what the Bible says. That's what we see. Yet a lot of people base their worldview on some illegitimate measurement of that makes assumptions that are false, wrong assumptions. So yeah, stellar parallax, no. Now, what I was saying about Elon Musk really believing that he can go and actually physically do that, like there's a place in the sky that if you go far enough, there's a place in the sky with rocks, and you can drill into the rocks, and you can make a foundation for a building or a house. That's what he's believing that. Okay, that's what the sky is to him. What is it to me? Well, like I was saying, there's the sky where the birds fly, where there's air. Like I'd consider that like the atmosphere. And then there is above the atmosphere. That's the firmament of heaven. That's the firmament. And there are many layers to the firmament that I don't know much about, but there's layers to the firmament. There's 7 heavens. There's 7 firmaments. 7 layers of dome or whatever. That's a lot. But that's just what I believe, because that's what the prophets wrote. That's what the Bible says. I believe that's such a better story than making assumptions that you're 186 million miles from your first. No, you're not. Wake up. So a lot of people can say it makes sense to me that those stars are physical and that they are light years away. And so they're believing that this place. Now, let's talk about what NASA believes what the sky is. Because NASA believes the sky a little bit more like the Bible talks about it. A little bit, in one way. They believe that the sky is like a place to explore. Like, they say that why are, like in the space station, why are the astronauts floating? You know, they're just floating around like this. Why does that happen? It happens because they're actually not floating, but like I was talking about a minute ago, about how they're falling around the curvature of the Earth. So they're actually perpetually in a state of falling. But so is the space station. I mean, so everything kind of just sticks together, like in a zero-G plane. So they're falling perpetually. The Bible talks about a place where things are falling perpetually. The Apocrypha really talks about a place where there's a bottomless place, a place with no foundation. Like, have you ever? I don't know if I ever have. I guess maybe on ice. I've fallen through the ice before. Have you ever been standing on something and it gives out? And suddenly you have no thing to stand on. That's what I'm talking about. Falling. It's a perpetual state of, nothing to hold you up, nothing to stand on. But that I think that astronauts are actually unclean in their spirit, I'll say. I don't think that they're created the same way that we are. Or maybe they were created the same way we are, but maybe they chose something. I don't know. But I think that they're unclean spirits. Because, basically because of the book of Revelation, you guys wake up. So there's a place, this bottomless pit. That's what NASA says it is. It's this dark place where it's dark and it's an abyss. And everything there, everything in the solar system is falling. The earth, like if you believe you're on the globe, you're actually perpetually falling right now. That's what you're thinking. Because the globe is going around the sun. It's doing the same thing. It's falling. You're not falling. God gave you a solid foundation to stand on. It's firm. It's still. You actually do stand on it, so you already know. The earth isn't moving. The earth is the only thing that's never moving, unless there's an earthquake. So if there's not an earthquake, so like if the earthquake gets moving, oh, what happens now? Is it moving now? No. Time to wake up. Because these are like, oh, flat earthers are so stupid. They think that the earth isn't rotating. Why do you think it's rotating? Do you have any reason? Most of you want to point up at the sky and say, because we see the stars moving. So you see the stars moving, so you think that the floor's moving. Wake up. Anyway, stellar parallax is a joke, and MC Toon is a joke too. I've started to call him MC Troll because that's all he is. He's I do think there's a part of me that is watching this Antarctica trip, kind of just watching what people are saying about it. There's a part of me that just, I expect to a certain point, I expect this, I don't know what you call it, facade, this facade that people like MC Toon are putting on. I think it's not going to be like taken so they don't have it anymore. It's going to be smashed. I don't know when, but it will be smashed. It will be humiliated. I'm not talking about like humiliating MC Toon. I'm talking about humiliating everything he's said. Because like I was saying, he's a liar. And I'm not like here to call someone a liar. I'm here to point out that the stuff he's saying is so false. Like, oh, I could think of 1,000 examples. I could think of 1,000, but I just gave you some in this video. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm a flat earther and I'm proud of it. And it's not, I don't even know if the earth is flat. I just don't think it's a globe. I know it's not a globe. And I know it's not rotating. Like I was saying, we have a solid foundation. God gave us ground to stand on, and it doesn't move. And I think that is something, if you're going to deny that, if you're going to ignore what God gave you in that way, you want to be falling, good luck. That'll be fun. Falling into an abyss on your globe. See, I do think that some of this is spiritual stuff. Like, I mean, there is kind of, you know, when God said, and I'm talking about like flat earth, like what is it? Why is it here? Why are people talking about it? Well, first of all, one reason why people are talking about it is because our technological equipment and like our optics and cameras and telescopes and lasers and things that equipment that like things that we've made is the most advanced that it's ever been. So that, of course, we're going to find out more about the earth. We're going to learn more about the earth. But I don't think that's the real reason why. I think God is revealing it to people who want to hear it. And there's reasons why in the Bible. I think in Ezekiel 33 or something. And this is all over in the Bible. God's telling them that he will take like his people or something. Like the people that will call him God, and he'll call them his people. Those people, it says that he will take them from among the heathen, like take them out of the world, whatever. Take them from among the heathen and place them in their own land. There's in the book of Enoch, it says, I will transform the heaven and make it a blessing, and I will transform the earth and cause my elect ones to dwell there. But the evildoers and sinners won't set foot thereon. Like, there's things like that that make me say, like, is this that land? It's called the city of truth. There's like Mount Zion I'm talking about. Are we finding that? Are we finding like a city of truth, like actual, like the world is not a globe? Like, we didn't look at a lot of these things our whole lives. We were just taught them. And if a person can like let go of the idea of having some reputation of some smart person or something, let that go, because it doesn't matter. What does God think of you? You know, I don't think God considers people to be smart or dumb. I don't. Because being dumb, that would be like an excuse to God. God would be like, oh, you're dumb? Oh, okay. You're just making an excuse that you're dumb. Okay. To get it, what I'm saying? There is nothing like that with God, I don't think. I think he sees who you are. He sees it all. So I would believe the truth. I would like think about a lot of these things. Like this stellar parallax thing is mind-blowing. Like, you're going to tell me that you know the distance to the stars, first of all, because there's plenty of places in the Bible and the Apocrypha books that talk about men being able to measure the height of the heavens. No. Or even telling what the stars are, or how they are there. Like, how does the moon stay up there then? Because God put it there, guys. It's so simple. He gave it a command to do a certain course, and the moon obeys. That's what the sun does. That's what all the stars do. The planets, though, they're not obeying. And that's why they're orbiting the sun. Because if they're bound, guys. If you think of imprisonment, those planets are imprisoned. They're stuck in an orbit. They can't leave. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything but what they're doing. And I think what they're doing is just trying to make men think that exactly this whole thing we're talking about, this bullshit science. That's not science at all. It's falsely so-called. That's what it is. So anyway, I just had to get on and make a video. And I do want to talk about believing in outer darkness. Like, according to the Bible, there's, like, in the book of Revelation, Apollyon, the angel of the bottomless pit. Remember that guy? And remember that key to the bottomless pit? That's probably like Apollo 11, like the moon landings and stuff. They were given a key, you guys, and they found their way into this solar system. But like in the book of Enoch, he talked about, in chapter 18, go check it out, he talked about 7 transgressing stars that weren't obeying God's ordained courses, and God bound them in a prison. And it's in the sky. We can see it. So anyway, I'm not trying to go to that prison like Elon Musk is. I think Elon Musk is, well, he's doing all the things that are written in the Bible too, that someone will do. But anyway, have a good one, and leave your comments. I want to hear what you think about stellar parallax. Tell me what you think, if it's legit or if it's kind of dumb.